book unhaul, and I love all of the first rows of my shelves. They're books that I know I'm gonna reread, that I'm gonna love if I haven't read them, except for there's a couple on that shelf that I'm gonna be taking off. But these lower shelves, I'm not in love with them because my reading has changed so much that it's time to get rid of some of these. So I'm gonna meet you back here with a huge list, huge pile of books that I'm unhauling so that I can get my shelves ready for 2023. Welcome to my channel. My name is Venus, and today I'm getting rid of a bunch of books. I have been looking at my bookshelves and just not loving some of the bottom shelves because there's books on there that I just, number one, know I'm never going to read, or that I know I'm not going to reread because I really didn't enjoy them, or series that I know I'm not going to continue on with. So there's a lot of them. I think it's over 30. I'm not going to get deep into what they're about because that would just be a really long video. So I'm just going to kind of go through them, give a little bit of a reason why I'm getting rid of them. They are all going to good homes, so please don't worry. I'm very good about donating my books and giving them away to people that I know will very much love them. One of which is my daughter, who has started her own little collection that I'm very proud of. So let's get started. First two books looked really, really pretty on my bookshelf, but unfortunately, so cool. Like, I love these covers. And I displayed them like this on my bookshelf, but I'm never gonna read them again. I really enjoyed the first one. Didn't love the second one too much. Just don't really care where the story's going if it continues on. So they are Fable and Namesake by Adrienne Young. I did read her new adult book, I think like in October, Spells for Forgetting, that I really enjoyed, but it was an ARC, so I don't have a physical copy of it. But yeah, these are the first two I'm getting rid of. They're both young adult, kind of pirate-ish, takes place on the water. I mean, the first one was fun. Like I said, the second one kind of got a little bit more involved with the romance, which kind of just fell flat for me. So anyway, these are going. Next up is definitely going to be on my one of my most disappointing of 2022, and that is Sundial by Catriona Ward. I loved, I think it's called The Last House on Needless Street. This is like a horror, thriller, suspense type book that she writes. Loved that other book, Last House on Needless Street. I didn't like this one that much. It has like animal cruelty in it. I thought it was going to go in a different direction than it did. And I don't know, I didn't like it that much. I didn't like the way that it was written. So I'm getting rid of it. It sucks because I think it's a beautiful cover as well, but I just know that I'm never going to read it again, and I think it should go to a good home. So this is going. I want to talk about a series that shit the bed with the ending of the series. Is this series? I don't know what it's called, but the first book was A Curse So Dark and Lovely by Bridget Kemmerer. I love this book. This is young adult, Beauty and the Beast retelling. I enjoyed this first book so much. And then I don't remember which one is the second and third. Second, a little bit less, and the third, a whole lot less. And I just was so disappointed about the way that this ended and the direction that it went into. And yeah, so these are going to a good home. I don't have anything else more to say. What the heck with the ending. So bye-bye. All right, so another... I can't remember if this is young adult series or not, but you're seeing a trend here. A lot of, well, not quite yet, but some romance, young adult, not really loving anymore. Oh, this is the first book. So, From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout. This was like a huge book a few years ago. I did enjoy the first book. I thought it was a great book. So, I can't remember if this is considered young adult or not. It's steamy though, so it might be adult. But has like vampires and other paranormal things in it. And it was a fun time. And then the second book was just, I think this is the second book. I'm pretty sure this is the next one I read. It was just okay. And then I just decided I didn't care anymore. So I have the two other, yeah. So let's back up here. When I first started really watching booktube, I went on like this huge like buying spree. So instead of like reading the first book in a series and seeing if I liked it, I would just buy the whole series. So you're gonna see that I'm getting rid of series that I've started and realized that I don't like at all, which is the case with this. Although I think I bought these as they were coming out. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah, so I think this is the third one, and I think this is like a prequel. They're beautiful covers. They looked really pretty on my bookshelf, but the reality is I'm not going to read these. I just really not into this specific genre. And I heard they didn't really get that good. They kind of got worse. So I don't know, but no, not for me anymore. Sorry. So this kind of makes me sad because I really, really loved historical romance when I first started reading. And I remember talking about this in a couple of my very first booktubes. This author, Bertree Small, I was like, I never see, booktubers that read historical romance ever talk about her. And I just felt like I was going to bring her back and talk about her and get other people to read it. And then I read, and I've read these, it's been a while, but I tried to reread Skye O'Malley. And boy, I've changed a lot because I hated it. It was not fun to me at all. The main character, I feel like she was like 12. And the love interest, I felt like, I don't know, he was like 30 or something. It was weird and I didn't enjoy it anymore. These were actually thrifted. I was so excited that I got these. These were really inexpensive, but unfortunately I don't like them anymore, so they will get re-thrifted to a new home. Next up is Party of Two by Jasmine Gilroy. This is another romance book. I've read quite a few of her other books. I think she has I don't remember if it's called the Wedding Series or I can't remember. And I thought they were good, romance books, but they started becoming very formulaic, very similar in the setup and the conflict and the resolution. So I stopped reading her books. This one kind of just lingered on my bookshelf and I don't have any desire to read it. So off it goes. More romance that's going is book 1 and 2 of the Outlander series. No, don't really care about this series anymore. I read the first 2 books many years ago. I wanted to, when I, was starting to put together my bookshelf, I was like, oh, I love Outlander. I'm going to start buying them, and they're in these really cool floppy paperback, the larger size, which I love. But I tried to reread Outlander, do like a rereadathon with a group of women that were rereading this series, and realized that it's just not for me anymore. So this is like historical fantasy romance book. It's all over the place. I'm sure there's a huge show about it. I did enjoy the show. I think I only watched like the first season though, but yeah, not anymore. My tastes have just changed. So I'm like waving to it, but it's going. You might be seeing a trend because here's some more romance. These are also historical romance. These 2 I got from Book of the Month. This first one I actually bought probably at Target, Bringing Down the Duke. I did, enjoy this first book. I think it takes place in this, okay, yeah, so it is centered around the suffrage movement, which I thought was a unique take on a historical romance book. I did, like I said, enjoy it, but I know that I'm not going to continue on with the series just because of, again, how my reading tastes are right now. So they're just sitting on my bookshelf collecting dust, and I feel like they could go to a home that loves these kind of books. So I'm just gonna bunch all these together because they're by the same author. I'm gonna say this before I show them. I really just didn't love this author's writing that much. She's very, I feel, overhyped. I'm sorry because I know there's a huge community of people that love her, but the first 2 books that I ever read by her, the first one I did like a lot, and the second one I hated. And so I just don't have any desire to keep these on my shelves or read them. I did buy like the entire series on Kindle, and so the whole series is on my Kindle if I change my mind. But for now, I'm going to free up some space on my bookshelf and get rid of all of my Sarah J. Maas books. So I can't even. Here they are. Yeah. So I don't have the whole series, but I think of the first 3 in one series. I don't even know what order these go in, but I'm getting rid, of my Sarah J. Maas books. There's just other fantasy series that I love that I want to start filling up my bookshelf with, and, which is the reason for this unhaul. So I know there's people that love this series, and it might actually be amazing, and I may read it one day, but as of right now, after, I can't even remember, her most recent series that came out, I can't remember what it's called, just was very disappointed with the second book. So these are going. Next up is another historical romance that I got from Book of the Month. The Heiress Gets a Duke. I know nothing about it, but I just know that right now, like I said, not really into historical romances, and so I don't know anything about this. It's going. So this one is another book that I was very much anticipating for 2022, and it's a romance book. I was super excited about it, and it was a huge miss for me, and that is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. Very cute cover, would love to keep it, but no, it was so bizarre. So this book, I'm gonna try to remember what it's about. So a woman, she I think she is a tour guide for kind of outdoorsy type ranch place. Her ex comes with his group of friends. They go on her tour. They've split up or whatever, but something tragic happens during this event, and then there's still a romance going on in it, and they just kind of float over this tragedy that happens. It was weird. I don't know, but yeah, very disappointed in this one, so I will absolutely never read it again. So someone who is a huge Christina Lauren fan will definitely benefit from this one, because some people really liked it a lot, so off it goes to a new home. This one actually is, I kind of really was going back and forth with this book, but I know that I'm not going to read the second book. I heard that it wasn't that great, and to be honest, I didn't really love this first book quite as much as everyone else did, and I have no desire to reread it. So that's going to be Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This was a huge booktube book, maybe last year or the year before. And while I did enjoy it, there was certain characters that I loved so much that I thought they were funny, endearing, and I love the setting. It was different than your typical medieval setting in a fantasy book. It's pre-Columbian Americas, which I thought was really neat. And the premise behind the book and the magic in it was really cool. But I heard in the second book, one of the main characters that I loved is barely in it. I didn't love it as much as everyone else, and I know that I'm not going to reread it. So unfortunately, I am going to get rid of this, and someone else will hopefully love it and keep going with the series. So these next 2 books are also part of a fantasy series that I know I'm probably not going to like, because as I've been reading more and more fantasy, I'm learning the types of magic systems that I like, the type of world building, the type of characters, and I just have a feeling I'm not going to enjoy this series at all. I think it's going to be boring. So one thing I did learn this year with reading fantasy is that I'm not a big person, thank God. I'm not really big on over explanation of the magic system, which is what happened with the Foundry Side series that I DNF'd, and because just so much description about the magic system. So having said all that, I do not plan to read the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. I've heard that it leans heavily on the magic system, and I don't know, I just all of a sudden just don't have a desire to read it. I'm not really interested in light bending or whatever happens in this book. So unfortunately I'm getting rid of this. Again, this is another purchase that I made without doing all my research. I'm a much smarter buyer now, so I'm very intentional about the books that I buy, which I'm sure my husband will appreciate, but I am unfortunately unhauling these 2 books. Another book, which is the first book in a series, thankfully I didn't buy the whole series, that I was not a huge fan of. This is also a pretty popular fantasy book that was just on everybody's must-read fantasy books, and so I just went out and automatically bought it, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Just on my personal fantasy book taste, this was just not for me. I don't really care about earth magic didn't really love the characters. I thought the ending was really cool, what she did. I think her writing is awesome. I will definitely read. I actually do have another book on my shelf, The City We Became, that I do plan on reading, but as far as this series, I have no desire to keep going on with this series. So this will definitely make someone very happy because it's well loved. It won the Hugo Award in 2016, and I think the second and third books also did. So it's very popular, but for me, unfortunately, it was not. So off it goes. And these last two books, they're Robin Hobb books, but not because I didn't love the books. They're because they didn't match. So this is part of the Farseer trilogy, and I bought these on a thrift bookstore online. So they were supposed to come, I got, if you can see, Assassin's Apprentice, the copy came like that, and then the second and third books came like this, and it drove me crazy. So I had to buy the matching set. So I'm only unhauling these because they don't match, but because I love Robin Hobb and these books, but they don't match, so I'm unhauling them for aesthetic reasons only, and someone will definitely benefit from these because these are amazing. So Robin Hobb Farseer trilogy, I've talked about it a million times on my channel, so I'm not gonna go into it, but definitely fantasy and amazing writing. So off these goes. And the last book came like this, without its dust jacket. It's Stephen King's Dreamcatcher. This was another book that I thrifted, and it, in the picture, it had the cover, and then I get it, and it looked like this. So they did ship me the actual, another book with the cover on it. So I do have Dreamcatcher on my shelves, but I don't know, you know, I guess I could have kept it without the cover, but it bothered me personally. I wanted it to have a cover. The FedEx man is here. My dog barks at them every single time they come, so there she goes. Literally, they could just be driving by my street and she will bark at them. It's what she does. Yeah, so this is the last book I'm unhauling. Again, not because I didn't enjoy it. I love Dreamcatcher. I'm one of the few people that did, but I wanted it to have the cover. So I'm going to unhaul this. Hopefully someone doesn't mind that it doesn't have the cover on it. So that's it. It was a lot. A lot of books. Some unpopular opinions. I'm sorry for some people that love some of the series that I'm probably getting rid of, but you know, it's just personal taste right now at this point. Again, I'm actually amazed how much my tastes have changed over the years. It's exciting because I'm, you know, experiencing all kinds of new genres and subgenres of fantasy, thrillers, horror. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards now. So these books, again, will all make it to happy homes. That's it. That's my end of the year book unhaul. And I'm going to, you'll be seeing some very empty shelves for a little while as I slowly and intentionally start to fill my bookshelves up again. So as always, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I look forward to 2023 and all of the new fun books that I'm going to read. So thank you. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you again soon. See ya.